Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to do something pretty ambitious. We are going to build a living thing right from scratch. This is a foundational biology review, and we've designed it specifically to sharpen your understanding of those core concepts you absolutely have to know for the NEET exam. We'll start with the tiniest particles and work our way all the way up. So let's get started. So here's the game plan for today. We're going to start with life's chemical blueprint, the raw materials. Then we'll assemble those parts into the cell, our very own living factory. After that, we'll crack the DNA master code that tells the factory what to do. From there, we scale things up to systems and homeostasis. And then finally, we'll take a step back and look at evolution, the grand design behind it all. All right, first up, life's chemical blueprint. See, before you can have any biology, you've got to have chemistry. Everything, and I mean everything in the living world is built from these fundamental blocks. And the most fundamental block of all, the atom. It's so simple, yet so powerful. At its very center, you've got the nucleus, which is packed with positive protons and neutral neutrons. And then, whizzing around that core, you have these clouds of negative electrons. This basic setup of positive and negative charges, well, that's the foundation for every single chemical reaction we're about to talk about. Okay, so when these atoms link up, they form molecules. Simple enough, right? But here's a really key distinction, one that's perfect for an exam question. If that molecule is made of at least two different elements, like, say, hydrogen and oxygen, we give it a special name, a compound. Water, H2O, is the perfect example. So remember, all compounds are molecules, but not all molecules are compounds. Now, for all these chemical reactions to happen, the environment has to be just right. And that's where the pH scale comes into play. Just think of it like a ruler that measures how acidic or basic a solution is. It's all about how many hydrogen ions are floating around. The more ions, the more acidic it is. And check this out. What's so amazing here is seeing how tightly our bodies regulate pH. Look at stomach acid. It's down at a pH of 2. That's super acidic, which is what you need to break down food. But then look at our blood. It's at 7.5, just a tiny bit basic. And pure water? That's our neutral point, right at 7. This delicate balance is a theme you'll see over and over again in biology. Okay, we've got our chemical parts. Time for section 2, the cell, our living factory. We're about to assemble all those molecules into the smallest unit of life. This, right here, is where the real magic of biology gets going. Now, the first big division you have to know, and this is a classic for exams, is prokaryotic versus eukaryotic cells. The main difference? It all comes down to the nucleus. Eukaryotic cells, like the ones that make us up, have a true nucleus that keeps their DNA safe and sound. They're also full of other specialized little compartments called organelles. Prokaryotic cells, like bacteria, are way simpler. No nucleus, no fancy organelles. Their DNA just kind of floats around in the cytoplasm. So let's step inside our eukaryotic factory. The main assembly line is the endoplasmic reticulum, or just ER. You've got the rough ER, which is covered in little dots called ribosomes. Those are the workbenches where proteins get built. And then you have the smooth ER, which handles other jobs, like making fats. It's this huge network that's totally essential for making and moving things around. So after the ER makes all this stuff, where does it go? Well, it gets sent to the Golgi apparatus. The easiest way to think about the Golgi is as the cell's post office. It takes in these molecular packages, sorts them, slaps a shipping label on them, and then sends them off to where they need to go, either inside or outside the cell. Any busy factory is going to make some trash, and a cell is no different. That's where the lysosomes come in. They are the official cleanup crew. They're basically little bags filled with digestive enzymes that just roam around, breaking down all the cellular junk, old parts, waste, even invading bacteria, and recycling the raw materials so the cell can use them again. Okay, on to section 3, the DNA master code. So we've built our factory, but how does it know what to build or when to build it? It needs a set of instructions, and those instructions are written in the amazing language of DNA. Now, whenever a cell needs to divide, it has to make a perfect copy of its entire blueprint, and the master builder for that job is an enzyme called DNA polymerase. This thing is incredibly precise. It zips along the original DNA strand and builds a new partner for it. And it follows one super simple but absolutely unbreakable rule. Adenine always pairs with thymine, and cytosine always pairs with guanine. A with T, C with G. every single time. So how does this whole replication thing actually happen? Well, you can break it down into 3 easy steps. First, you unzip the original DNA double helix. Second, DNA polymerase comes in and gets to work, building a new matching strand for each of the old ones. And the result? 2 perfect copies of the original DNA, where each one is a hybrid. It has 1 old strand and 1 brand new strand. Here's a really important takeaway. DNA is the master blueprint, right? It's way too valuable to just let it wander out of a nucleus where it could get damaged. So, to get the instructions out to the factory floor, the cell makes a temporary copy called RNA. Think of RNA as a work order. It carries the instructions for just one specific job from the DNA out to the ribosomes so they can build a specific protein. Let's move on to Section 4, Systems and Homeostasis. We've built a single cell, which is amazing, but most life is more than that. So now we're going to zoom out and see how trillions of these little factories work together, organizing themselves into tissues, organs, and entire systems. What you're seeing here is just how specialized these systems get. You've got the circulatory system, which is basically the highway transport network. The digestive system is your fuel and water intake station. The nervous system is the high-speed electrical command center. Each one has a very specific job, but here's the key. None of them work alone. They're all talking to each other all the time to keep the whole thing running. So what's the ultimate goal of all this teamwork and communication? It comes down to one word: homeostasis. And this is a huge concept, one of the most important in all of biology. It's the active process of keeping your internal environment, things like your temperature, your pH, your blood sugar, incredibly stable and balanced, no matter what's going on outside. It's literally the difference between being alive and, well, not. And if you want a really simple way to think about how this works, just remember the law of mass balance. It's just basic accounting, really. For any substance in your body to stay at a constant level, whatever you take in has to be balanced by what you put out. The water you drink has to equal the water you lose. It's that simple. Ins must equal outs. And that brings us to our final and biggest piece of the puzzle: evolution, the grand design. We've built a single functioning organism. But why are there millions of different kinds of organisms on Earth? The answer is found in the single great unifying theory of all biology: evolution. The engine that drives evolution is natural selection. And for it to work, you just need these 4 conditions to be true. 1, overproduction. Way more babies are born than can possibly survive. 2, variation. Everybody's a little bit different. 3, inheritance. Those differences can be passed down from parent to child. And finally, 4, differential survival. The individuals with the traits that give them an edge in their environment are more likely to survive, have kids, and pass on those winning traits. It is that simple and that powerful. And we can actually see this story written in the fossil record. Our own human story has been pieced together from these incredible discoveries. From the 4.4 million-year-old Ardipithecus to the famous fossil Lucy, all the way to early members of our own group like Homo erectus. Each fossil is like a snapshot in time from our long evolutionary journey. Now, this next point is absolutely crucial, something that trips a lot of people up. An individual organism does not evolve. You are not going to magically sprout wings in your lifetime. Instead, it's the genetic makeup of an entire population that slowly shifts over many, many generations. So remember, evolution acts on populations, not on individuals. So, there you have it. We went from a single atom to molecules to a cell to a complex organism, and finally to the massive forces that have shaped all life on this planet. It leaves us with a final thought to ponder. When you trace that path from a single atom all the way to a thinking, feeling being, what does that journey tell us about the fundamental rules that govern life itself?